Okay, so just a little thing. Obviously there was a restart, if you couldn't tell, it was a new stream. Um, Pretty much when the last lobby kind of got, um, I'm not sure how you would call it, like when everyone left it, my game crashed for some reason, and then my PS4 kind of crashed with it. So kind of was a little longer getting back into the lobby, but we're back now. Everything's looking alright, and once again waiting for people to get their strategies in check. Of course, top 10 have been helped out a little because they have fresher softs, but it's still a soft medium either way, so it's just going to be a little easy to take those softs into race early on. So not as big of, excuse me, not as big of an advantage for other tracks. Like Baku last week, I think there was a restart in one of the races. I can't remember if it was FP or F2, but either way, a track like that certainly helps a lot more if it's restarted. This track, not so much, since it's just a standard soft medium anyway. But regardless, it is going to be Cameron Young once again leading them away for the formation lap, ahead of once again Thomas McGyver and Paco Suarez, who Paco Suarez, he was going for pole, maybe could have got pole, but unfortunately invalidated, and that was the end of his lap, so didn't work out for him in the end, but he's still third, so he could be able to come back a little bit. Ross Denham in fourth, followed by Nino Romanello in fifth, both of them certainly able to get a podium. Tom Jewell in sixth, and then of course Matthew Alder in seventh, which is the closest driver to a second win. No driver has got a second win this season in FB yet, as all 5 drivers have been different winners so far. And it's looking like we're going to be seeing a 6th different winner in a row today, with how the top 6 are all drivers who have not won this season. As Thomas McGyver takes a little bit of an adventure off into the gravel for some reason. That's an interesting line. Is this just going to be the... Okay then. Gonna have to use this until it updates. So here it is then. 5 red lights for the Japanese Grand Prix. And it's lights out and away we go. And it looks like Cameron hasn't got a good start. He's off to a very bad start. 4 cars already ahead of him. Thomas Guyver leading into turn 1. Ross Denham trying to go down the inside of Paco Suarez, who's obviously picked up a place in Cameron Young trying to retain a top 3 at least. This is a virtual safety car, and Cameron Young is going to be able to get that place back. So Cameron dropping 2 positions off the start. So Thomas McGyver is going to be able to take the lead ahead of Paco Suarez. Cameron Young, of course, dropping to 3rd. Ross Denham staying put in 4th, and Nino Romanello still 5th. Matthew Alder also not able to make up places. So actually there's a bit of wing damage. I did see a bit of wing damage. That is on the car of Nino Romanello. That's a Ferrari of Nino Romanello, so he may well have to pit here on lap 1. A virtual safety car. Don't think it's going to last long enough, as he kind of gets up alongside Ross Denham, but no contact. Maybe he's a little annoyed. Maybe that's who gave him the damage. Not sure, but regardless, it is going to be now Thomas McGyver who's going to be leading this train away as we go through Spoon. Turns 13 and 14 here, as a predicted pit stop. A soft hard, but it's certainly not a soft hard. It is a soft medium, very much easily, especially with these fresh softs as now. the race gets underway once again as Paco Suarez under pressure from the racing point of Cameron Young. Cameron Young right up the back of him here, going into the final chicane as the top four very close to each other, as Paco Suarez down the inside of Thomas McIver, and he's actually gonna make that move. So by the end of lap 1 he's actually made up 2 places now, and he's leading this Grand Prix. Cameron Young now trying to go down the inside, trying to take back what maybe he feels this is, as he put it on pole position before, as he's going to be on the inside. Very tricky corner to be on the inside, side by side between the two. They give enough room to each other, and it just about works out as Cameron Young now up into P2, and I think it's kind of looking like these the current top 2 are probably the most likely to take it, looking at Quali's Thomas McIver dropping back now a little bit, as he was in the lead only a few corners ago, as well, a sector ago I could even say. There's quite a few people in the pit lane. That's Nino Manello, Lordy Lewis and Brandon Glover all having to pit on lap 1, so it's going to be interesting to see what they go on to. It's actually Sondre Sorag also in the pits. He's definitely not leading. I'm sure he would love to be leading in that Alfa Romeo, but it's not the case at the moment, as Paco Suarez is leading ahead of Cameron Young. But for how much longer though, because Cameron is really putting the pressure on. Is actually in the background as well. I saw Ross Denham maybe trying a move down the inside, or having a look down the inside of Thomas McIver there. Wasn't able to make it work, but Paco now is leading in the 130R here, as the third and fourth very close together. Down the inside for Cameron Young through 130R, a ballsy move there. It's very difficult to leave space through 130R, but he's going to be able to make the move, and he's going to take back what was once his as we go on to what is lap 4, and a fastest lap to go along with it. So now Paco Suarez is going to have a bit of work to do. He's going to have to try and keep with him and try and retake this lead, maybe going into well, 130R, kind of like Cameron did a few moments ago. As it's looking like the most likely move to be making, the most easy move maybe to be making, as Ross Denham puts on a lot of pressure following behind Thomas McIver here. Is Matthew Walder actually up to 5th after Nino out to pit, so he's picked up a place to try and get closer to this top 4, as Thomas McIver seemingly dropping a little bit back here, as actually, well, Paco Suarez significantly dropping back. That's 1.1 seconds between the top 2, so Cameron Young really showing his pace in that Renault. Wait, is he? Oh, he's actually spun, it seems. And Paco Suarez is going to retake the lead once again. So a bad start from Cameron Young. He got back the lead going on to lap... Well, actually, it was lap 2, I guess he got the lead back because it stayed lap 3. That's just the game for you. But yeah, he's back down to 2nd. So Paco Suarez is going to be able to easily retake the lead, as Tom Jewell and... wait, I'm not actually sure what happened there. I think maybe... No, because Tom Jewell was... Okay, I'm not sure who was making a move on who. But, well, regardless, Paco Suarez now leads 6/10 between himself and Cameron Young once again. It allows Thomas McIver to close back up, going through turns 1 and 2 now. Oh, and he spun! Round goes Cameron Young out of turn 2, and that is going to be some sort of safety car, I assume. I'm not sure which. I think that's a full safety car. I think that is a safety car coming out of the pit. So this is really going to shake up the race now, because hards can go to the end from here. And I think it's certainly the better call to go hards from here to the end, because it's very difficult to make the moves to make time back if you're going to stay out. So this really shakes up the race. Of course, Cameron Young was leading. He put on pole position, had a bad start, dropped to 3rd, got back his 1st place, lost the rear again, and dropped down to 2nd, and he got it back once again, but then he spun again, I think, and now he's in the wall. So not a good start at all from Cameron. Not a good race at all from Cameron, as Paco Suarez now is going to inherit the lead. So it's going to be interesting to see what he does, as I'm going to change the timing so you can see he would be coming out outside of the top 10, but I think it's still worth it. He is going to be going into the pits as Thomas McIver going to be following him. Matthew Walder also in. Tom Jewell is going to be going in. In goes Jared Fosbury and Ross Denholm. Sylvain Vezier in. Rocco Walsh actually trying to make a bit of a move there into the pit lane. Not able to do it though, as Joe Hollis is in. Tim Verstappen is in. Marcel, Ollie, Erminator's also in. Lordy is back in 14th place. He's already made a stop. So it's going to be interesting to see if he stays out to try and gain back some positions, or if he's going to go into the hards as well. He can. But if he's going to be on a different strategy, maybe it's going to be better to stay out. But he is going to go in as well. He's going to copy everyone else's. Nero Romanello already pit for hards. He's maybe going to gain a position on Lordy, but I don't think he's going to gain anything more than that. Yeah, no, he's certainly not. So he's going to go up into 14th place, and he's going to be going to the end, you would expect, as yeah, he does stay out. As Lewis Curtis is going to be presumably pitting, as yep, and he goes. Brandon Glover is going to be staying out. Of course, he just went onto the hards, and same with Sandra Sorog, you would assume, going to be staying out on those hard tires, the only hard tires to actually have access to. I'm pretty sure there's only one hard tire that you can get in a race weekend, so gonna have to very much rely on these hards to go to the end, which they certainly will. As that is an interesting. Wait, Lordy as well on the softs. Ollie Flavel and Marcel. Well, Ollie on softs, Marcel on mediums, and Thomas McIver on medium. Well, I didn't actually expect this to be the case. Hards is 100% the better strategy, but people haven't gone for it, which is interesting. It's not the better strategy, especially when everyone's doing it. Like, they'll have to somehow pass a whole train of people on hard tires. Really, the most likely candidate to make anything out of this kind of alternate strategy, if you want to put it like that, is Thomas McIver. If he can get past Paco Suarez, then he would certainly be gapping, because those mediums are a lot quicker than the hards, but you'll have to pit again. So it's certainly going to be interesting to see how this unfolds by the end of this race. As on to lap 6 we go, still under safety car conditions. Lewis and Sondre should be catching up on this lap now. As into the pits goes Ollie Flavel. Maybe he... No, he didn't. No one started on the hards. So, on go the hards now anyway. So he's also going to be going to the end. Lordy has not opted for the hard tire. He's going to stick with the softs. Those softs will kind of go off a little early. So it's... well... not early. This track, you can actually take them a fair bit, to be fair, but it's not the better strategy. Mediums, of course, on Thomas McIver, so it's going to be interesting how he fares with this, especially Matthew Alder, the reigning champion in FP, and also leading the defending champion and leading the F1 championship. So it's, yeah, going to be difficult, even in a Merc, to keep someone of that caliber behind. Paco Suarez maybe going to have a bit easier of a time. As you were expected to be in this lap. We'll see, of course, once they cross the Sector 3 line. Safety car in this lap, so it's all up to Paco when he wants to go then. As we see the Mercedes closing up. Approaching now the final chicane is actually... Paco Suarez has gone a little earlier than I've usually seen, and it looks to have worked out for him. 6/10 between himself and Thomas McIver behind, as Matthew Walder doesn't get too bad of a restart either. He's following closely behind Thomas McIver. Jared Fosbury in that Alpha Tauri falling back a little bit. Ross Denham running in 5th. Tom Jewell in 6th with Rocco Walsh right up his gearbox as well. As is that a move? Actually, it is. As Lewis Curtis on the softs, of course, goes past Sundry Sorog. You would be expecting that to be an easy move. Soft versus hards, of course, so... I think I need some water. I'll go on anyway. Paco Suarez, of course, going to be leading. You would be expecting Thomas McIver to be able to make a move. Eventually, at least, he's on the better tyre by far, and it's going to be a better tyre for a fair bit into this race. Probably around like lap 17 it would be worse, so he's going to be going for medium soft. As here comes Thomas McIver down the inside of 130R, and he's going to be able to make that move pretty easily just before it as well. As maybe Paco Suarez is going to try and come back at him here though, as he is going to try and brake late. He's right up the back of the Mercedes, but doesn't look like he's going to be able to do it. This is Mercedes power versus Renault power as well as the mediums versus the hards, so that exit should be far superior, and it is, as he's going to most likely go off into the distance now, as you would expect him to at least go off into the distance. Matthew Walder running in 3rd position, so he's 2 positions behind being the first repeat winner. If it's going to be anyone to do it, you'll be expecting it to be this man anyway. As they funnel through the first sector, going through to the almost flat turn 7, and then the very fast but very easy to get a warning turn 8. As Matthew Walder gapping the guys behind a little bit. It's 1.3 seconds between himself and Jared Fosbury, so it's Jared Fosbury versus Ross Denham here. They're both Honda powered. It's just a case of the Red Bull is the better car aerodynamically. So you would be expecting in that straight line with less drag on that Red Bull, that Red Bull would be able to make the move, but of course we'll see. There is a bit of driver skill involved in that as well, going through the corners at least. So we'll see how this unfolds. As almost a full second between the top 2. I don't think that DRS has been enabled yet, as it will probably be enabled going on to the next lap. And there you go, DRS enabled, so Paco Suarez would have been able to use it, but actually just... Oh, what is that? Oh no. Is there another safety car? It seems there is. Yeah, that's another safety car. Now this could shake up some things, because I think the mediums could be able to go to the end from here. As Marcel and Lewis Curtis rightfully going on to the hards, didn't do it earlier. And people like Tim Nino, Vezier and Brandon Glover all going on the mediums. I did say they're probably able to make it from here, and well, they're proving it. They're on the mediums now, so they're going to be going to the end, and they're going to be able to close up to well, actually no, they're not, because that safety car is still waiting at the exit of turn 2, so it's not actually going to be a benefit here. Certainly going to be interesting to see what Thomas McIver does, because those hards will definitely make it now. I mean, they already were, but does he stay out? Excuse me. Does he stay out on those mediums and try to make it last, given this is a safety car? All remains to be seen, of course, as he's going to be going into the pits. Maybe. No, he is going to stay out. So that is an interesting strategy call, as he's going to stay on these mediums. A few people actually going to be pitting onto the mediums, as you would expect. There you go, Paco Suarez on go those medium tyres. Rocco Walsh is going to be going into his grid box along with Matthew Alder as well. Matthew Alder onto the mediums. I see Ross Denham there also onto the mediums, as Matthew Alder actually comes out behind Ross Denham, as he was running ahead of him before. So maybe he had a bit of a glitch trying to get out of the pit lane. Thomas MacGyver obviously staying out. So he is relying on these mediums to go to the end, it seems now. With the safety car would help, but it'll be a stretch. Of course, on something like 2019, this would probably be possible, and you'd say, yeah, Thomas MacGyver could definitely go to the end, but tyre wear's a little more harsh in this track for this game, and well, it's going to be a little bit more of a struggle. If the safety car isn't in this lap though, I'm going to go get some water because my voice throat is a bit dry. So, yeah. Okay. Okay. It's a lot better. Getting a bit of a drink. So, lap 11 out of 27. Of course, we're going to have to sit here and just watch the safety car go around. It is going to be in this lap. Of course, Jared Fosbury running in P2 now, going to the end on the hards. It's going to be interesting to see how that plays out compared to Paco Ross's, Matthews, and indeed Rocco Walsh's mediums, fresh mediums as well, compared to those slightly used hards. Well, I don't know how I mixed up the syllable, but yeah, the used hards, I should say. As he certainly got the call, as you can see the green light on top of that safety car indicating that it is certainly in this lap, or it should be. Yeah, it is. So it's all up to Thomas MacGyver now as to when they go. Jared Fosbury going to be right up the back of him, looking for a move maybe into turn 1 as soon as he can at least. As Thomas MacGyver really pushing it here, as Tom Jewell actually gets a 5-second penalty for a collision with Jared Fosbury, as Thomas MacGyver, I should say, gets a very good restart. He did actually lose the back end momentarily there. If he didn't, it would have been pretty much perfected, but unfortunately not for him, as You see, well, the timings are of course glitched. What do you expect? As there's a Williams that's actually Matthew Alder going around the outside of Paco Suarez, and he has actually made the move, and now Paco Suarez is on the back foot here a little bit because Lordy now is going to be looking for a move on Paco Suarez. Of course, he's on the soft tyres in the Mercedes as well. Down the inside, pretty easy move. I don't think Paco will put up too much of a fight there, and up into 5th place. Of course, on the softs, he's going to be able to make these moves pretty easily, especially having that Merc. So he's got every advantage available to him. As Tom Jewell now, Matthew Alder's next target, so maybe Matthew Alder is going to be able to take a second win this season. You never know with this man. He can do amazing things with bad cars, and of course Williams is certainly one of those cars. As he's up the back of Tom Jewell, he's going to be in the slipstream. No DRS in activation just yet. It's going to be activated in 2 laps time, at the end of this lap at least. As they come through the final chicane, Tom Jewell doesn't look like he's actually had too good of an exit, as Matthew Alder's going to be right at the back of him. You can see that surely Tom Jewell using a little bit of ERS there as Matthew Alder follows behind him, as actually the Mercedes tries to make a move as Matthew Alder finally goes up the inside of Tom Jewell. He's going to be on the outside for turns 3 and round the outside, but Matthew Alder once again the same move he did on Paco a lap ago. A lot of balls to go around the outside, I have to say, and he's made it work both times, up into 3rd place now. The top 2 on more worn tyres, you can say, and of course it's Matthew's skill level as well. He's got a little bit of an advantage that way, so it's going to be interesting to see if he can close up there. As he gaps himself a little bit to the Renault behind, as the Renault actually gets overtaken by Lordy there down the inside. A dive bomb move really into the hairpin, and a pretty easy one at that with softs versus hards, and he is going to be up another place as well, and he's going to be once again chasing after Matthew Alder, as it looks like he lost the back end there. Lordy a little bit going through spoon, not going to affect him too much, as Matthew Alder now closing up to the back of Jared Fosbury. 7 tenths separating them, of course 4 tenths to Lordy behind him as they go through the final chicane here. Lordy right up the back of him. Of course this is Merc engine versus Merc engine, but it's also Mercedes versus Williams, as this Merc is going to go down the inside of Matthew Alder, and he's going to be able to make this move on Matthew Alder as well, going into turn 1 as the 2 Renaults actually going side by side as well. Tom Jewell defending from Paco Suarez on those more worn hards at the moment, at least, as he goes through what is turns 5 and 6, and he's going to be able to retain that advantage for a little bit longer. As actually, is this Lordy down the inside? Yes, actually. I don't know where he made that move, but surprising. Well, then again, not surprising, because it's softs and a Mercedes versus hards and a AlphaTauri. But up into P2 now, it's actually the 2 Mercedes leading this Grand Prix, so not looking too far from the truth. Just the Red Bull's not really up there. If they were, then maybe it would look kind of normal Grand Prix. But at the moment, of course, Lordy on the softs, he's going to be closing up forevermore, as Paco Suarez seems to have made a bit of a mistake, as he's actually fell behind Brandon Glover, who's right on the back of Ross Denholm here. He's going to be looking to the inside. This is very equal on tyre wear. It's a McLaren versus a Red Bull. Brandon Glover versus Ross Denholm, as he's going to make that move, and Ross Denholm now on the back foot to Paco Suarez and Rocco Walsh behind him as well. It's all very equal on tyre wear, so it's almost just driver skill really making these moves. So it's kind of fair that way, as the McLaren leads this kind of train. Is that Marcel off, or no? That is Ross Denholm into the barriers. It's another safety car. I'm not sure what happened there, but Ross Denholm off into the wall. He was going side by side with Rocco Walsh and maybe Marcel as well. And he is now out of this race. That is certainly a safety car, I can see. Not sure why the flag isn't showing up on the top left. It should, but this is a Codemasters game. So another safety car to shake up the tyre strategies. Is Thomas McGyver going to pit this time? He is going to pit this time. I would expect Lordy to go in as well, as he kind of has to, as Jared Fosbury in, Matthew Alder in as well. Tom Jewell is going to be going in. Brandon Glover now putting himself up to 6th place not too long ago. He's into the pits. Paco Suarez into the pits. Is actually Rocco Walsh. He did try to make a move earlier in the pit lane. He made it work. This time he's got passed, but also a 5-second time penalty. So he tried it, but couldn't quite make it work properly. And, well, he's also going to hold up his teammate a little bit here, as he had to serve. Well, actually, no, that's Sondre Sorog. It looked like he was serving a penalty there as well. So a 5-second penalty for Rocco Walsh. Certainly not what he needed, but he has it, as Vezier also a penalty, Marcel as well. Sondre Sorog has a penalty, Paco Suarez has no penalty, so at least on pens he will be in the top 10. For now, as Tim Bristain's now out of the pit lane, he has no pens either. Nino has actually been kind of saved from this, it seems. As he was running 14th, seemed he was a little bit far away from the grid, but once again, closing back up. As now Lewis Curtis decides that it's better to stay out on the hards. Thomas McGyver opting for the mediums. A fresh set of mediums. Interesting choices for the top two. And of course, in third, none other than the reigning champion Matthew Alder on the softs. Would be expecting him to be able to take this. Oh, Lewis Curtis in now. So he stayed out another lap. Maybe he wasn't able to pit. Maybe it was bad timing. I'm not sure. But he is in now, which leaves Thomas McGyver to retake the lead once again. And it suddenly promotes Brandon Glover to a P3. And Lordy, with his strategy of softs on earlier, allowing him to be on softs now and to be a little bit further up the grid, because he made the moves just before the safety car. So he's done himself a favour. I mean, at the same time, he can't anticipate a safety car, but he's done himself a favour nonetheless, whether he knew it back then or not. Thomas McGyver very interestingly on the medium tyre. So now it's all up to Tom Scarver. Didn't actually notice the safety car going in, but here we go then. Tom Scarver is allowed to bring it all the way up to the line, as it looks like he has gone. So Thomas Guyver has bolted now, as Matthew Alder right at the back of him on the soft tyre. Brandon Glover also on the soft, already trying to make a move on the outside, or at least having a look. He wasn't able to make the move though, and he's gonna have to stick behind in 4th place. Matthew Alder also having to settle for what is P2, as there's actually Paco Suarez round in turn 2 with damage as well, and he's a long way off the rest of the grid. So very unfortunate for him, but actually a little bit up the field there. Lewis Curtis now making a move on Sondre Sorg, as Sondre Sorg gets a little bit on the grass there as well, and allows Rocco Walsh also to go through. So not what he needed, as Rocco Walsh gets a 3-second time penalty. So that's his first penalty there, as we actually pick up Nino Romanello as well, going down the inside of Marcel here in the Red Bull, and he's maybe trying to make a double overtake here on Tom Jewell in the Renault as well. As it's going to be a very difficult move to make here, as he's going to be looking on the inside, and it looks like he's going to make the move work a little bit wide on the exit. Easily could have turned into a bit of a collision, but he's going to be able to keep it there for now, as Lordy and Brandon Glover were going side by side a few minutes ago. Unfortunately missed that, because Nino was going down the inside as well. But Brandon Glover losing out to Lordy. Of course, it's Merck versus McLaren. They're both in F1, so kind of the Merck is going to win that fight any day, pretty much. So now it's really between the top 3, I would think. Of course, Lordy in that Mercedes, you have to put him down as a contender. Matthew Alder in the Williams, it's Matthew Alder. He's a contender, and then, of course, Lordy in the other Mercedes. As don't tell me that's another safety car. That's another safety car. How many have we had? Like 4? Oh. This is another safety car, isn't it? Yep. Oh my. Oh. Another safety car. Really? Another one. What is this? Oh, Sondre gets a drive-through for speeding under the safety car. Well, that's... we won't talk about that. He's not... Another one? Nah, Sondre. And another. I was gonna brush it off, but like, this has to be talked about. 2, like, I hope that was a glitch, that it wasn't actually. No, I have to check this. I have to. There's no way. 2 oh, that is actually 2 drive-throughs. On the same lap. Oh my. I would have brushed it off if it was only 1, but we talk about this, Sondre, unfortunately. We certainly talk about this. I do kind of hope it was like a glitch, though. No, it is. It's drives through. It says it pretty clear, and he's not going to be able to serve it on the safety car either. Really not all that fun when all there is safety cars, to be honest. Not really much to actually commentate over. Of course, Thomas McIver is going to be able to lead a few more laps, so I'm sure he's not going to be complaining. He's just kind of been sitting there most of the race, looking at the safety car for most of the race as well. Matthew Walder is going to be once again looking for a move. It's kind of like another chance, as he's going to be as close as it gets really to the back of that Mercedes. As the safety car should be in this lap. It's not the most boring Grand Prix I've ever commented over, but when there's 4, I think there was safety cars. This is the 4th one, I think. Gets a little overboard. No one even, well, Rocco, Walsh, Vezier, and Sondre, I think, all pit for this one. But no one else really did, so it doesn't really affect anything. As Tom Jewell gets another 5-second penalty. So here we go then, once again, another restart in this race. Thomas McIver going to be leading them away. All up to him when he goes. When he wants to go, he will, and it looks like he is gone now, so it's really all up to Matthew. It doesn't look like Matthew's got good enough of a restart. That Mercedes is going to be right on the back of him. It's really probably going to be Glory's only chance to get this P2 off Matthew, because once they get into the corners, I think Matthew's going to have the superior skill really to stay ahead and close up to Thomas McIver, who is on these mediums still, and these softs are certainly going to still be the better tire to be using because they've been in safety car conditions for most of their life, so they're still going to be pretty young as they go through to finish sector 1. Thomas McIver 6/10 ahead of Matthew Walder, but for how much longer? Well, for how much longer will Matthew Walder be ahead of Lordy as well? Because it looks like he's closing up a little bit, as only 2-3 tenths separating them. As Nino Romanello, actually there's a little bit of a fight here, as I haven't got the best camera angle. The Red Bull of Marcel following closely behind Tom Jewell, as I think it was Nino Romanello making a move on Tom Jewell initially. Marceau tried it as well maybe, but couldn't make it work the same way. As actually here goes Lordy on Matthew Walder, and he's going to be able to make the move. Brandon Clover might be able to make this move as well as they go into the chicane side by side between the two. Brandon Clover's going to have the inside for the next corner still, side by side. It's going to be Renault power versus Mercedes power as they go into turn 1, but it looks like Matthew doesn't have enough straight line speed, as he's going to have to stick behind for now as he loses 2 positions. So now it's Lordy going to be following behind Thomas MacGyver on these fresh softs. It's a Mercedes versus a Mercedes, so for these two it is completely equal, but the soft tyres gives the advantage to Lordy right now as they come through to finish the final sector. As you can see how much more grip Lordy has, as he might be going down the inside here, as he's very, very close. He's going to stay behind for now, as Thomas MacGyver really holding on for dear life as they approach the hairpin. Lordy did make a dive there earlier, I think, but he's stuck behind this time, or maybe that was Nino I'm thinking of, but this time he is going to be on the outside here. He's going to have the inside for the next corner, and it looks like side by side between the two Mercedes guys, soft tyres versus medium tyres, and it is going to be Lordy to take the lead of this race. So finally the lead changes hands after a few safety cars, and now Thomas MacGyver is maybe going to start dropping places as Brandon Glover right at the back of him as well. But crucially, Lordy does have a 3-second penalty, and he's going to have to pull a 3-second gap on Thomas MacGyver, and indeed Matthew Alder as well. If Matthew can maybe make a move on Thomas MacGyver by the end of this race, as now Brandon Glover is right up behind Thomas MacGyver. He's really the next guy to kind of get past Matthew Waller's Matthew Walder? I should have said Thomas MacGyver, I'm sorry. As the two Mercedes lead going through the twisty sections of Sector 1. So it's really going to be interesting to see if Brandon Glover can make this move, and then it would be Matthew Walder really the next person to go for this move. But right at the moment he hasn't been able to do it yet. We'll see if he can do it, maybe going into 130R as a small lockup from the two of them, but he is actually looking down the inside, or trying to get alongside at least, going out of the hairpin. It wasn't able to be made quite yet, as he's going to be closing up through Spoon. He's going to take a nice and wide line, cut back in to try and get that superior speed as he goes out wide a little bit. Surely going to give him a warning anyway, as he's going to be approaching the final chicane as Thomas MacGyver needlessly goes to the left hand side to try and break the toe. I'm not sure why he did that, but he did it anyway, as he's going to come through the final chicane. So can Brandon Glover do anything now, as 1.2 seconds behind to Matthew Waller's Williams, of course. But here comes Brandon Glover now. He's going to be in the slipstream. He's going to pull to the left, and he's going to be round the outside for Brandon Glover. There's a little bit of contact there, I think, between the McLaren and the Mercedes, but luckily no one going round, as Thomas MacGyver drops to third, Brandon Glover up into second. As Lordy has actually got the gap necessary to preserve at least a P2, but not a P1 quite yet, as I should change this back to leaders. 2.8 seconds now between first and third, and he is going to need to pull out 3 seconds if he wants this win. As it's kind of hovering around 2.7, 2.8 right now. Brandon Glover still running P2, and it looks like he's going to be there until the end. As looks like in front, Lordy's going to be able to pull that gap, because now going through Sector 1, it's going to be way superior for softs, and I think we're going to see him break the 3 second mark and preserve this win. Matthew Older, though, still where he needs to be to just take P3. as we are now on lap 26 out of 27. Brandon Glover almost has a podium, but of course this penalty is kind of putting a spanner in the works, if you want to put it like that. Also got a hungry Mercedes still following very closely, so 2.9 seconds between Lordy and Brandon, so even if Lordy got another penalty, it wouldn't actually matter if he had one extra penalty compared to Brandon, or almost wouldn't matter, as there's 2.7 seconds between the two as they approach the final chicane on the penultimate lap, going on to the final lap. It's actually Brandon Glover is where he needs to be to take a P3. As then, even if Thomas McIver got a penalty, it wouldn't matter for him either. Well, it would, because he'll lose a P2, but he wouldn't go backwards compared to where he finished on track anyway. We'll check actually. 8 seconds. 5, 6, 7, 8. Oh! If he has 8 seconds, that means that Matthew Alder is actually, because Brandon Glover is a 5-second pen, Matthew Alder is actually going to take a P2. And Thomas McIver is still in the running to win this race, as Lordy is going to be coming through the final chicane. Now it looks like this might be the fastest lap of the race for him, which will give him an extra point, but it's not going to give him a win, at least not right now, unless he can get that penalty removed. But across the line for Lordy, and it is going to be the win on track, but Brandon Glover is going to come across the line. He's going to finish P2, but Thomas McIver is going to jump both of them to take the win for now, at least, as Matthew Walder up into P2. So first and second on the track, dropping to third and fourth. Jared Fosbury is going to pick up P5, Lewis Curtis in 6th, Sylvan Vezier in 7th, Tom Jewell 8th, Rocco Walsh in 9th, and Marcel rounding out the top 10, Nino Romano 11th, Tim 12th, and Sondre Sorog in 13th. As he... Oh, excuse me, a little bit of a hiccup here. As he finishes up the spoon corner, approaching 130R here. 11 seconds of pens as well, as Tom Jewell tries some possession. Of course, Sondre Sorog did have 2 drive-throughs, so wasn't exactly going to end well for him, and he does finish 13th. So, at the moment anyway, it's Thomas McIver who lifts the trophy to take the win. Matthew Waller, of course, in second. And Lordy dropping to third, crossing the line in first. Of course, he did have a legitimate 3-second pen, but if he were to get rid of the 5-second, he would take the win still. So, it's going to be interesting to see what happens after the race. But at the moment, it is Thomas McIver who takes the win. Matthew Waller in second, and Lordy, of course, in third. Brandon Glover will have to settle with the P4. Jared Fosbury in fifth. Lewis Curtis finishing in sixth. Sylvan Vezier in seventh. Tom Jewell 8th. Rocker Walsh 9th. And Marcel rounding out the top 10. Then it's outside of the top 10. Nino, Tim, and Sondre. And then the DNF's Paco Suarez, Ross Denholm, Joe Hollis, Ollie Erminator, Cameron Young, who actually, if you remember, was fighting for the win, for fighting for the lead at least, qualified in pole, and then Adrian Villarreal, who was the final driver classified with a DNF as well. So the top three, Lordy, Matthew, and Thomas MacGyver. What? Or at least it looks like it. Yeah, there we go. Okay, I don't really know what happened there. Was it making more chats than it needed to? But finally have you now, Lordy. So yeah, you obviously crossed the line in first. You did have a 5-second pen. I'm pretty sure that maybe you will be getting removed. But as it stands, you are third. You were not always involved in the fight for the lead, but you got a podium in the end. So how do you think it went for you?
Yeah, I was practicing in the racing point initially before the race, and I was very, very quick in the racing point, and I would have been fighting near the front, which was quite pleasing. I do love Japan. It's one of my favourite tracks, probably one of my best tracks. Obviously, because I am a reserve, I just fill a slot if somebody's not there. So luckily or unlucky for me, I got the Mercedes. So I decided to not be a party pooper or a mood killer and just get pole and start from the front and race away, basically. So I decided not to do quality. It made it a lot more difficult. I think some of the battles I had with some people were fantastic. The best move I had was one of the safety car restarts. I overtook 3 people into turn 1 just on sheer speed. It was ridiculous, that car. But yeah, overall, a bit annoyed with the 3 seconds I got at the end. It was on the last lap at Degner 1. The 5 seconds, whether it gets removed or not, I'll post my footage and see what happens. A bit slow from the leader. I thought, I was nearly in neutral. We were going that slow, so we'll see what happens. But if not, I'm very happy with third. So yeah.
Well, then, obviously, I was wondering if you intended that or not to start from the back. Of course, it did give you an alternate strategy anyway. The next race is Austria. So, obviously, a lot of straights, a lot of overtaking opportunities. You're certainly not going to be in a Merc. Like, the 15 points is going to put you at of some people, but you'll still be in a fairly high car, I would assume, if you're able to race. Obviously, you're reserved, but how do you think you could do around there?
Yeah, Austria is another one of them tracks. Really enjoy high speed tracks. Is normally what I really enjoy racing on. But Austria again, can be a killer, especially if you are either outside a DRS train or fighting too hard with somebody. You can lose the time because it is such a short circuit. But yeah, another favourite for me. So if I am able to race, looking forward to it.
Well, congratulations on what is currently a third. It might increase after some stewards things, but yeah, congratulations on the podium anyway, and good luck for next week.
Thank you very much, man.
Which would go on to Matthew. It doesn't look like Thomas McGarvey is going to be joining, so we'll finish with him. Obviously, as of right now, it's a P2. You yourself didn't have any pens, so you did what you had to do, of course, in a Williams, so not the easiest thing in the world, but it got you a podium anyway, so happy?
Yeah, I mean, I think I'll probably finish 4th after Bran and Lord to get their penalties removed. But finished 2nd in the Williams. I mean, the gap between the Williams and the rest of the cars was bigger than it normally is. Normally it's, generally like less than a tenth, and sometimes even faster than Alfa or Haas. But this week it was like 2-3 tenths. So yeah, finishing 2nd in that car was quite good, especially around a track which is really bad for Williams. So
yeah, obviously you spent a fair bit of time in 2nd on a few restarts. I think the last 2 restarts you were actually in 2nd behind Thomas McGarvey. Do you think maybe if you got a perfect restart and got him into turn 1 that maybe you could have won this race, or do you think the Williams would have held you back in the end anyway?
Nah, I think maybe on the one with when I had the fresh softs and Thomas McGarvey had the old mediums, I might have been able to get him after a couple of laps, especially when I got the DRS, but we had the extra safety car, so any chance of me passing him was probably out the window. He did put onto medium, so I thought it might have been a chance of passing him, but his pace was still too good for the Williams to keep up with. So yeah, I just had to settle for what I was being given, and then I didn't fight Lordy because that's just stupid. He's on this Mercedes, he's a faster driver than Tack, and I can't keep up with Tack anyway. And then I didn't mean to let Brand go, but he made a nice move on me, and it was good racing. So yeah, I think 4th was probably the best I could have gone.
Yeah, that's fair enough. And obviously you are, you were leading the championship anyway, I'm fairly sure. Even if it was a 4th place, I think you'll probably still be in the worst car. Next week it's Austria, which is very dependent on a good engine. Do you think you could do well around there?
Well, I've done Austria recently, so I think I'll do alright around there. It'll probably just be another a case of trying to get as close to the podium as possible. Like most of these races have been, generally I just finish fourth when like there's not enough crashes for the fast people. So yeah, I think solid points like a sixth or fifth, maybe a seventh, I'll be happy with.
Alright then, so congratulations on what is at least currently a podium, and good luck for next week.
Yep.
So that has been IRLFP here for Japan. Of course, maybe not the best race we could have gotten, more safety cars than anything else, but yeah, there were some good points in the race, certainly talking points in the race with a few crashes, but yeah, apart from that, you'll be seeing Japan this weekend. Of course, it's not the end of Japan for this week. Of course, F1 on Saturday and F2 and F3 on Sunday, all at 4:30 p.m. UK time. So be sure to look out for that. I'm sure there's plenty more fights and plenty more that Japan has to give. And yeah, apart from that, join us next week in FP, where maybe we'll see another. Well, maybe we'll see another winner. Maybe we'll see a repeat winner. Who knows? This is FP, so anything can happen. So yeah, apart from that, hope you enjoyed and good night.